Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at Mandibuzz in the Open Great League. This Pokemon is, at least by PvPoke, currently the top performer for the Open Great League. So what this kind of means is that this Pokemon performs better than most other, or like every other Pokemon against the current teams that are really played much. This is based on the training feature of PvPoke, and we also have a team here that is based on the training feature of PvPoke, because I just went through the list there and looked which team had like Mandibuzz in it. There were like two different ones. This one I find a little bit more interesting, especially with the Shadow Galate as a say swap here, which is kind of funny. But yeah, we're going to take a look if this team can do something here. We can take a look at Mandibuzz itself as well, which, as you might expect already, is very good in the current meta. I made a meta video as well, like basically ranking the top meta for the Open Great League like 2 weeks ago, and I put Mandibuzz very high up, expecting that this Pokemon is going to get more and more popular over the period of time here, basically. And I think it's still going to be the case. The thing is, with the current meta, there are a lot of Cresselias, there are a lot of Fire-type Pokemon, there are a lot of Lickitung Pokemon, exactly, Lickitung Pokemon. It's the best description for a Pokemon, the Lickitung Pokemon, but no. Like you see already, there are a lot of Pokemon that you can target down with it. The thing with Mandibuzz is, it is very neutral against a lot of Pokemon. It is not very dominating against a lot of Pokemon. So, for example, Pokemon like Cresselia might dominate matchups against like Mudboys as well as like Fighting-type Pokemon, while Mandibuzz does not really have those matchups. Like everything kind of where it plays against is very neutral, which I guess puts the score a little bit higher up because everything is kind of neutral and you kind of have play against everything. But a lot of times you kind of would like to have sometimes those matchups where you can really destroy opponents. Here we destroyed the Empoleon with our Galate. We can move on to the next one. Here, for this team, there are some issues as well. One of them would be, for example, Mantine. Having access to Ice Beam plus Aerial Ace would knock out basically both my lead as well as my Say-So of Galate, but they decided to swap out into their Gligar, which is going to be okay for us. We can stay in here. It's going to be a pretty favorable matchup usually for the Mandibuzz. We can go for the Dark Pulse spam. We can even go for an Aerial Ace maybe next, because maybe they're going to use a Shield. I'm not sure, but we definitely need 2 more charge moves anyway, and Aerial Ace is definitely going to be the better one to go for. Let's see if they're going to use a Shield. They decide to use a Shield, and so we can just go for the Aerial Ace spam, as you have to hit another charge move anyway. I was curious if 2 Aerial Aces would be enough. It's definitely not going to be the case, so we have to go for another Dark Pulse, but maybe we can even realign or get another Shield from the opponent. We can take even another Aerial Ace at this point, and so Dark Pulse is coming through. This is going to take the knockout, and we can realign, which is going to be very nice for us. The opponent swaps into the Mantine, and so I can align my Cresselia against the Mantine while also getting a little bit of damage already on them, which is going to be great for later on, because you might put them into one Moonblast range. Why am I running a Moonblast on my Cresselia here? Usually you want to have Future Sight, of course. The thing is, with Moonblast you're going to be better against Pokemon like Gastrodon. In hindsight, I would recommend you to run Future Sight. Why? I did not encounter a single Gastrodon, which would have maybe been a core breaker for this team, but I encountered, I don't know if it's going to be in this video, but I encountered quite a lot of Skeledirge, and Skeledirge completely destroys the team, especially if like you are going to be in a scenario where they're gonna be up against your Galate first and get a ton of energy, so Future Sight would help there. Next opponent, let's see what they're going to have here. We're going to see that the opponent is going to have the Altaria. Altaria is going to be a Pokemon that is also going to be very tricky for this team. Altaria is also a Pokemon I kind of want to try out again, because I feel like it has a lot of potential right now, being very neutral against a lot of things, but also completely restoring the Mudboys in the current meta. It is actually a very, very good Pokemon to run, and I would be not surprised if we're going to see it in a few tournaments, like in the next few weeks as well. Altaria, very, very good Pokemon, even though, of course, the Sky Attack and Nerf kind of hurt it, but like if Sky Attack would still be the same, this Pokemon would be even crazier. He decided to go into my Galate. I was thinking that I might be able to just farm them all the way down, and in comes exactly the Pokemon that I was kind of fearing. We don't really have anything for the Skeledirge. I don't really play this one out perfectly either, I think. Let's find out. I think I can still survive on move here. That's why I overfarmed by a little bit, but I was not able to, because otherwise I would have been able to just go for 2 maybe Leaf Blades and it would have been fine. But now they can go for a Disarming Voice, knock me out, and that's going to be it for this game. Still, like, this team definitely still is not perfect. We're going to have a perfect lead here though, and the opponent swaps out into a Dewgong. I decided to go into my Cresselia because I was not trusting my Galate to win this in the 2-shield scenario. Cresselia, on the other hand, is going to have a great matchup here. It is still going to be a little bit tricky because the opponent has access to Icy Wind, which is going to be able to debuff our attack. And they're making a great play here by deciding to go for a shield immediately. and then going to decide to shield again the next one. So they really want to have switch alignment, of course, as the lead was the hardest loss for the Trevenant. So it definitely does make sense they're going to try to use 2 shields here to align, but I'm also going to still be able to use 2 shields on my side to align myself. And as you can see, I need just 2 more grass knots, and as we're going to generate energy a little bit faster, we're going to hopefully be able to outspeed the opponent as well for that. We can go for another grass knot now, which is going to put them kind of low. And if they really want to kind of keep their Dewgong alive, they kind of have to swap out here now, because I'm still going to use a shield because I know that I would be able to realign. Icy Wind is coming through, and they decide to not swap out. And so we can now align the Trevenant against our lead again, which is going to be great. And we just have to hope that there's something in the back that we can deal with the Gallade. I decide to swap out immediately into the Gallade, and they're going to have a Lantern in the back. I think Close Combat would have done more damage here, not too sure though, but like Leaf Blade is still going to be fine. Forcing them though to go for a Thunderbolt over a Surf, which is going to be great for us because it's going to take a little bit more energy from them. And so hopefully I can outspeed them with a Dark Pulse, which I will be able to do. And so this is going to be enough to knock them out. There's only going to be a Trevenant in the back, and so the opponent decided to forfeit this game. Moving on, we're going to have a Dragonair in the lead. This is going to be a little bit of a trickier one, but actually I like this one quite a bit. What you can do is you can go for a Dark Pulse, and you can reach the next Aerial Ace a little bit faster now. The next Aerial Ace is only 3 fast moves, which is great for you, because now you can try to force a shield from the opponent, and also the opponent still has to basically go ahead and go for some energy here, which I'm going to let go through, because my play is to swap out into Gallade, try to farm down, get a ton of energy, and then try to sweep endgame with it. But here we actually even going to be able to reach the Leaf Blade before they can go for a charge move, allowing us to get the final shield from the opponent. I decided to use a shield here as well, of course, but we still have a shield advantage. Gallade has nowhere really to go, because like Gallade can just go for the close combat here, like there's no shields in play anymore, and so it's going to knock them out. We just have to hope there's not something like a Bastion in the back, would be very tricky for us. In comes again the Dragonair. We can go into our Cresselia. I'm going to let this move go through. Just hope that there's no Bastion in the back. Bastion is basically the only Pokemon that would break the Cresselia plus... Great. Yeah, Cresselia plus Mandibuzz core, of course, but this is going to be literally the worst possible Pokemon I could have encountered here. But maybe there is still some play, I am not too sure. We're going to do only a little bit of damage. We still have neutral damage, at least from our charge move, but again, like Bastion, like if it's going to be something like Grass Knot from Cresselia, it literally just tickles this Pokemon. And so Stone Edge coming through, going to get the shield from me, because Cresselia kind of has to still be a little bit healthier. We can try to go ahead and go for a charge move here again. We're gonna get them lower and lower, but it is going to be still a tough one. But I kind of want to put this as an example for maybe why you should never really give up, even though it might be the worst possible matchup, because there can still be some ways of playing around it. Here they can knock us out. We can still try to reach the Dark Pulse, which we can, but is this going to be enough to knock them out? It should do a little bit more damage than Grass Knot, right? It is not, but we can still at least get a draw here, which I'm totally okay with. Next opponent, Poliwrath. Poliwrath is a Pokemon that is better for our backline, and here we see like the big issue for this team. Charger Bug is literally free. Like Charger Bug has no answer on this team, and this is like also why I kind of would recommend you to be a little bit more careful with taking the teams that are in the recommended page on PvPoke. Like usually I think it's on the training data, and like for me at least, when I used the train feature on PvPoke, I started into PvP, which was a great feature then. Like I like this feature a lot when I started into it, but I stopped using it afterwards. And so I feel like a lot of the teams that are kind of in that list are mainly from like people who start into PvP, and so those teams don't always make sense and don't always really function well. It's still kind of funny to take a look at them, and you kind of still just have to judge them yourself, but yeah, again, like just take it with a little bit of like, I don't know, like just take a look at the team and see if it's going to work, because like this team, for example, doesn't work really. I don't think this is going to be a great team to use to climb. I still think that Mandibuzz is a great team, and like a great team, a great Pokemon to use. I'm going to have another team for it eventually though on this channel, so definitely stay tuned for this. Going to be a little bit more of a fun one though. Definitely stay tuned for this. I'm definitely going to try to make a video again about Mandibuzz. But yeah, like when you go onto the PvPoke page and look at the best teams that are currently available, always just think about a little bit on if they actually can function or not. Here, for example, Charger Bug is just a big issue, and we can move on to the next opponent. Speaking of Charger Bug, it is kinda common right now, which is also something that I predicted in my meta-analysis, like when the season started, that Charger Bug is going to get a huge buff this season. Actually, not a lot of people were running Charger Bug in the first week of the season, but as expected, like as soon as the meta kinda settles, Charger Bug is going to be one of the most common Pokemon. Here we see a Spicer as well. If you haven't seen my Incineroar video, I made an Incineroar video as well, basically earlier on today, so definitely check this one out as well, like not even 24 hours ago. Very interesting Pokemon to use, but also very, very clunky Pokemon to still use. If it won Blaze Kick, it would be a little bit faster most likely, but here Blastman is coming through, we can still go for a close combat against the opponent. It is going to knock them out and we can realign. Realignment is very important for this team, but they're going to have a Greninja in the back, and this is going to be scary, because now basically, we're going to have our Cresselia, which is in a matchup later on, where it doesn't really want to be in terms of its typing, but we still have coverage all the time, so it's going to be a very interesting one. Here we can see the matchup of Mandibuzz against Greninja. Greninja resisting a fast move, we just gonna take neutral damage, but Greninja is so squishy that Aerial Ace is gonna put them into kinda two-shot range, but they're swapping out now into the Charger Bug, and as said before, like our Cresselia is going to have a very tough time against a Bug type and a Dark type, but still Cresselia is just so broken in the current meta. We know that we can still survive the next charge move here, which is really important for us. We would have not won the CMP tie, so going over is definitely the way to go. With this, we can hopefully knock them out. The Moonblast is connecting here, knocking them out here, and we see that the opponent goes straight for a charge move. And this is going to be great for us, because like this, we should know that we still survive a move with a Mandibuzz here. Even if there's going to be a Hydro Cannon, we still should be fine. But they even decide to go for the Night Sledge, which does not really help them out at all. And so we can win this game fairly easily here. Good game there, even against the Charger Bug, we still were able to come back from. Next opponent. This was, by the way, the first battle that I battled with this team. And I was like, what are the chances of this? Like, Carbink in the lead. Like, Carbink is a Pokemon that I have not seen since basically Skarmory got the Steel Wing buffed. And like now in the lead immediately, just to get hardwalled by the Sableye. This was the first battle that I did with this team. It's just so fucking funny that this was basically the first thing that I was encountering. Completely getting walled here, but it's going to be even better. So here we're gonna see the opponent going to be able to, going to have a great time. I can still try to go for some extra energy here. They can go for a return, because I know that my Mandibuzz is not really worth it, because they're always going to be aligned against the Carbink. I'm just going to let them get some damage onto me. The energy is way better for us, maybe if they have something in the back that they can still deal with. But no, they're completely walling us, and so we can move on to the final battle of today. Moving on to the final battle of today, we're going to have a Shadow Dragonair here. Shadow Dragonair is going to be okay for us. As said before, basically, we can just go for one Dark Pulse and then go afterwards for one Aerial Ace, and this should be kind of fine for us. So we can see that the opponent goes for a charge move this time around a little bit faster, which is okay for us. We can let the move go through. We can force a shield, or we can force a knockout, both of which is going to be fine for me. We can now see that the opponent is going to use a shield. I can swap out, farm them all the way down with my Gallade, or get like in general a ton of energy here, which is going to be great. In comes the Body Slam, in comes a Lantern, and against Lantern this matchup is actually kind of great for us, because we can always realign, and realignment can be very important. Gallade is honestly so much fun in order to just like destroy opponents with hard-hitting charge moves. Leaf Blade coming through here, going to get shielded, but it doesn't really help them. As you can see now, we can use a shield as well, a Surf coming through, and we can now overfarm by 2, and now go for the CMP tie, and we still have basically a Leaf Blade stored. We need 2 more fast moves to go for another Leaf Blade, 3 more fast moves to go for a close combat, and let's see what we're going to have next up here. We're going to see that the opponent has in the back a Vigoroth, and so we can go up by 3. The opponent tries to swap out, it doesn't work out, and of course you know what's going to happen here for the final battle. We can still go for a Dark Pulse, they can knock me out, but we still have the close combat stored, and so this is going to be literally perfect. We can let the move go through, close combat is coming in, and this is going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.